record it. Okay, so I kept my the required files here. I will share this location, right? Um, okay, so you can check this link. Okay, anyway, I'll send you the in our WhatsApp group also. I will send it. Okay. All right, keep it here. Okay, now let's start the Hive installation. Actually, yesterday we discussed about Hive architecture and Hive internal tables. Do you have any question on this? Any question on those topics? If you have any question, I can take the question, take up that question, and then we'll move on the to Hive installation. Then we'll see what is external tables in Hive. Okay, yeah. Okay, so if you don't have any question, I'll just move forward. I'll start the Hive installation. Uh, okay, for Hive installation, the Hadoop is basically the prerequisite. So you should have Hadoop installed, which is basically a SDFS and MapReduce and Yarn. So these components are mandatory for uh, I have to work on it. Okay, because it's going to make use of SDFS and MapReduce for the Hive queries to work, right? So that's a mandatory prerequisite. And then now we'll go and check the Hive. So you can open the hive.apache.org website. Okay, so in the download page, you can click on download releases. And so you will have different version of Hives available. So I tested with the Hive version, Hive 3.1.2. That's what I was using it. So I did the setup and I was using this version of Hive. So we'll install this. So I already set up this VM, right? So basically the one which we did the Hadoop installation, MapReduce and Yarn installation, the same VM I'm using it. I will open Putty. If you go to my maybe maximize my appearance. Is text is visible? Is this font size is fine?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I was actually maintaining all my softwares inside the softwares folders. So we install Hadoop right in the when we started doing the Hadoop installation. Now I'll just go and use the same directory for installing Hive as well. So basically, when you navigate to this link, the page which I showed you, you can go to 3.2 and download this binary. Okay, not the SRC file, this bin file. So Apache Hive 3.1.2 -bin tar ZZ. So you can just take this link and either you can download and move it to the node, or you can use a wget command to download that binary file. So I'll just take this command, duplicate command, followed by that URL. Okay. Okay, I think it will take some time. How much? It's around 266 MB. Okay. So I am using a mobile internet. That's why it's little slow. Based on your internet, it will be faster. Okay. So meanwhile, I'll just tell the next few steps so that we can save time. So once you download this file, so you get this tar.gz file, right? Apache hyphen Hive hyphen 3.1.2 hyphen bin dot tar.gz. So this is a file which contains the Hive software. Okay. So what we are going to do is we are going to so if you're downloading other than your software folder, you need to copy using the cp command. Otherwise, this command is only applicable. Okay. So if you are directly downloading the software folder, then no need to use this copy command. Okay. So then we can actually download the one. We can whatever the downloaded file, we can extract it. We can use the tar command to extract the file. So tar, then space. You need to provide this option hyphen xvzf and file name, which is going to extract your the tar.gz file. Okay. So again, if you go into this file, the extracted file, it is going to have the config folder, bin folder. See, most of the open source components. So once you download this file, right? Example, you download this. What is it? Once you extract this file, you will get the folder like this. Okay. So most of the components you will see the config folder and right. So config folder, then you will see bin folder which will have your utilities, and then you will find sometime logs folders come by default, or maybe when you run a first time some queries or jobs, then it will create a log folder, and then it will create what else, you'll have some other folders. So these are like lib folder. Sometimes you'll have a lib folder. Okay. So these are the some of the standard folders inside your open source projects, right? Open source components or projects. If you look at Kafka, also having similar structure. Hadoop, instead of config, earlier it used to have a config folder. Now it's changed to etc Hadoop folder, and bin, log, lib, and all. It's already there. So that's how generally the open source softwares will look like, the folder structure. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to take your the location where you kept this folder, that you can take as a Hive home folder. You can set as Hive home folder. So we need to open this dot bash rc file. Okay, there is a dot bash rc file on your home directory, which is a hidden file, right? So if you go and say ls hyphen a and give the path, okay, tilde if I put in the home directory. So hyphen a will show you all the directory with the hidden files also. Okay, so you see here dot bash rc, where is it? here. Okay, so we are going to modify this file after extracting this folder file. We will modify this file to add a Hive environment variable, which is a Hive home. Okay, let me clear the screen and do ls. Now, so let me run the, so my file is already kept it in the software folder. I'll just run only this extract command. Okay, so the file is extracted here. Okay, now I'll just clear, and so I'm going to open this dot bash rc file, and I'm going to add this Hive home as this folder, and Hive config folder as the variable in the variable as I'm going to export this variable as till Hive installation folder followed by config folder, and then add the Hive home environment variable to the path variable. So this is kind of standard pattern you do for many components. Okay, so I will open this using nano editor. Okay, so I'll just, you can use the page down, or you can use scroll button to come down the end of your file, and then append your these three lines. Copy this, appended here, and save it. To save in nano editor, just say Control O, enter. It is wrote 142 lines. Just Control X to come out of it, and then you need to refresh this file by saying source bash rc. Okay. Now, so this is almost kind of downloading a file and extracting the binary file, and then setting a Hive home. So after that, you need to set up a few things like a warehouse directory, which I mentioned you. Uh, the Hive will manage particular HDFS directories to store the uh, managed table data, as well as uh, the tables table level. Like a table will be organized in a folder, the specific folder called a warehouse folder that we need to set up. Okay, so for that we need to start our HDFS service, because this is the HDFS location it is going to use it, right? So let's start the HDFS. So I will start all dot sh. On the HDFS starts, and then we can actually create these directories. Can someone say what is Metastore in Hive?
Stores about internal tables.
Okay,
It's a RDBMS.
Metadata information of the tables and database objects.
correct, very good. So it's going to store the metadata about your tables and database and other information. So that Metastore, by default, it is a Derby database. Basically, that's only one user session you can open. So to make more user sessions, we need to configure that instead of Metastore as Derby, we'll configure with the MySQL. Okay, so that is our next step after the warehouse directory setup. So once you complete the warehouse directory setup, then we'll go and configure MySQL as a Metastore the DB database. Okay, so now what we are going to do is just, I think this would have started. APS is done. I'll just clear the screen. I'll just go and create one temporary directory. and then change the mode. Just give me a minute. I'm getting one call. Okay, so let me create the warehouse directory. So that is user Hive warehouse. That's a directory. Even Cloudera, Hadoop, any distribution, if you go, the Hive uses the same directory. Let's set the permission. This is going to be kind of one-time activity. Then now we'll start configuring our MySQL as our to configure MySQL as Metastore. First, we need to install the MySQL server and create a username will be there. Use what is that root? So we need to set the password for that other stuff. So first we'll create a first we install a MySQL server. Before installing, this is a command to install MySQL server, right? So before we install this, um, let's update the we are using Ubuntu operating system. Just update the Ubuntu repository by running a sudo apt-get update command. Okay, then I will use this. Okay, this is done. Let me clear the screen. So basically, it is a sudo apt-get install MySQL-server. So if you run this command, it is going to install this MySQL server, MySQL client as well. So it is asking, it will consume some 155 MB of disk space additionally. I'll say yes. So it is going to download the MySQL software from the repository. So it is going to install MySQL version 5.7. Latest version is something MySQL 8 or something, but 5.7 is good enough for us to just configure our Metastore as a MySQL. It's almost going to finish. Okay, once we install that, you can just verify your version using MySQL space hyphen hyphen version, and then we need to set up password for MySQL. For there will be user called root. Okay, but the default user in MySQL is a root. For that user, we need to set the password. By default, it will go without a password. Okay, so there is a utility called MySQL secure installation. You can say sudo space. If you run this command, it will try to ask you the password for root, and it will ask few more information. You can just say yes or no, and then you can continue that. So let me check it's finished. Yeah, the installation is finished. So we will say MySQL hyphen version. So it installed MySQL version 5.7.33. Now let me. So if you just say sudo MySQL, it will open without password also. But actually, to make the JDBC URL for Metastore to connect, we need to provide the password and all. So for that reason, we need to set the password. We'll just come out. So to set the password, we have to run this utility. So it's asking, you want to actually, there is a plugin to validate password length and other stuff. It's asking, do you want to install that plugin? I will say no, because if I say yes, so it'll actually not allow you simple password. It will ask you to provide some complex password and stuff like that. So I'll say for now no. And now you need to set the password for root user. I'll just set data making the same which is using for everywhere, and I'll repeat the same password. And do you want to remove anonymous user which is comes by default? I'll say yes, and disallow root login remotely. I'll say no. I'll be logging from the remotely. Do you want to remove the test databases? I'll say no. Privileges, yes. Okay, so this done. Now you should be able to log in with the user root. I'll say root MySQL, or no need to say sudo also. Say MySQL hyphen u root hyphen p. You can provide the password. It says access denied. Okay, we have to do one more step. I'll go with the sudo MySQL, and then you need to alter this user. Okay, so if you just type sudo MySQL, it will launch you with the default password, the MySQL CLI. This is a MySQL. People who are seeing first time the MySQL installation. So when you type sudo MySQL, this is a command line interface to work with the MySQL server, right? MySQL database server. So you can just type show databases, show tables. These are the default database which comes with no selected. So basically you need to select database to run your show tables. One suggestion: if people are from non-database background, I request you to learn MySQL. At least one database you should be learning. So MySQL is one of the simplest RDBMS database to learn. MySQL or SQL Server or Oracle, anywhere as per your wish you can learn. But at least non-database background people should learn at least one database. So one programming language, one database management system is very essential skill for uh, to work in at least big data. Okay, so let's go back and query this user table. And for the root, I'm going to use instead of this one, we are going to make as some password. So we have to provide MySQL native password as a plugin and then change our password. So we are seeing alter user and root at the rate localhost identified with the MySQL native password. So what is the password you given in the previous step? So I given as data making only. So I just run this command. So it is updated. So it is updated with the password, right? So flush privileges. It's kind of refreshing your privileges, and then you can probably verify and exit out of it. So the password setup also done. MySQL. Now just try to restart your MySQL. Okay. So to start again, the sudo systemctl systemctl. I will say stop MySQL. And then I will start it. And try to check if running. Just run a status command. Sudo systemctl status MySQL. Okay, it's running. Okay, let me clear the screen. Now we are going to create a database called Metastore. Okay, so this database can be anything. Okay, you can create a different name also, but generally just to follow the naming convention, I'm just using a Metastore. So in this database only, it is going to store the table and database information. The tables and database you created on Hive, it is going to store those metadata in this database called Metastore. Okay, so let's log in MySQL -u or root -p and then enter the password. So I'm here. Just I'll create a database and also I'll just say use. So you need to create a user called Hive. Okay, so we need to create a Hive user, and I also for this Hive user also I'm setting password as a data making. It's a very important step. You need to create a username called Hive in this Metastore database. That's very important. Then you just set the privilege, grant privilege for this user, and followed by just flush and close it. Okay, now we created a database called Metastore in MySQL. Now the next step is to provide this Metastore database there is a file called hivesite.xml. If you go to the config folder of your Hive, so let me show you that. where I'm in. Let's navigate to this folder, the Hive folder. So you see there is a folder called config. Just go into that. You will find one file called hive-default.xml.template. So basically this is a template file for hive site.xml. So I will try to look for the configuration from this file only. Okay. So we are going to modify this file and create a file called hive-site.xml. Okay, then add this content. Okay, so only 1 minute left. Let's disconnect and connect back with the same link. Thank you.